Well, that's one of the things I really respect about what you guys do. I mean, there's so many people out there who hide behind anonymous posts on message boards, but you're putting your name out there, and when you walk down the roads of the convention, especially when we start video podcasting, people know your faces. So I know a couple people.
I don't know what we're thinking. Well, it's like Kirkman yesterday. We were talking. We did a quick interview with Robert, and then we were talking to him afterwards. And then somebody came up and said, "Oh, I love your guys' show," and we're like, "Thanks, but there's Robert Kirkman." Talk to him.
Can we stop the name dropping portion? Okay. So we're talking with Robert, and then Stan comes along and starts talking about the '60s. I'm like, I know, dude.
So you've all been doing it a couple years now, and this the drive to do these podcasts obviously comes out of your love and joy you have for the medium, and it's fun. Is there any point where it has become a grind, or that it starts switching to work as opposed to something that you really look forward to doing? Or
yes.
Yes. So what keeps you going?
The Jim Beam. Just watching Chris do that.
Yeah, it's a real tough balancing act, and some of you folks may know that our show's going on a little bit of a hiatus right now, and if you have her, and what how many people out there are a little burnt out with event comics right now? All right, you're lying a lot of stuff. It's kind of a natural thing as just like every day, in your fandom, you kind of burn out. We've all had moments where it's like, I'm going to stop reading for a couple weeks or a month or so because I'm not really finding the joy in comics like I should be. But whenever you do a show every week or twice a week, and it starts to turn into this thing where it's like I have to get up, not have to, because what we do is fun. But yeah, after a while, it can turn into a little bit of a grind. Whenever you find yourself not being as positive about this medium that we love and this hobby that is more than that for us in a lot of ways, and you find yourself like, do I want to do this tonight? It's like, okay, it's time to take a couple weeks off or a month off and come back at it and recharge. So yeah, it can be a little bit of a grind. 8 hours of editing on a Sunday.
Stop editing so much. Stop talking so much. Do it for like an hour and you're good. I almost take the opposite tack on that because, I had a day job that sucked. So in comparison, all I kind of need to do is, the hour a week that we record our audio podcast, that is the best part of my week. And it's totally fun. And I would think that I would be getting sick of it by now. And the hour it takes to set it up is the worst part of the week. Oh God, what's wrong this time? You know what? There's certain times where you have to read books in a week and they're kind of not good. But that's about as bad as it ever gets. It's still fun, and for us, what I think makes it worth it is there's all this feedback coming constantly, like from the website, emails, and stuff like that, and that totally keeps you going. So I guess if you were doing it in a vacuum, I could be totally sick of it, but thanks to the people who are listening and interacting with us, or a huge part of it, like that, it really helps, I think.
Yeah, and we still love comics. We still love talking about comics, but it's just take a break. And I don't want to sound like it's a job, but it's not.
I will only talk about it on the podcast, though. I'm talking about comics outside of it. Had enough now.
For us, we've had our moments. First of all, it's 8 friends, and we've all been friends for years. Some of us for 20 years. So when they come over to my house, which is where we record it, I mean, these are some of my best friends coming over to my house. So that part is certainly not a chore. And in fact, if there's ever a week where we don't podcast because there was a convention or there was somebody's on vacation, it feels like, my God, what the hell's going on? This is weird. We need to get together again. It's like I haven't seen you guys in a week and a half. There's something wrong. And so that part is never a chore. But obviously, in some weeks, we have a Book of the Month club, and then we have to review 6 issues of the first 6 issues of some series, and we got something else to read, and then there's Book of the Month encore we have to do, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I can't read the novel I want to read because I have literally 27 comics that I need to read by next Sunday or something. So that can be like, okay, what's the deal? But again, it comes down to the listeners. I mean, we have a lot of listeners who the show is important for because they went to college and then they moved to Minnesota and they don't have any comic reading friends and they're totally isolated, and we're the only connection they have to the medium. And when we get those emails and they say, thank you, thank you, thank you, because you make my job go better and you rekindled my love of comics, then it never gets old. And I'll keep doing it till I'm 80 if they'll keep listening, because if it helps them, then that's worth every ounce of effort we put into it. I mean, and then we get those emails, at least one a week you get from some new person who never contacted you before, and you're making their day, and that is a really exciting feeling, you know.
So I will say that my podcast is like at the opposite end of the spectrum of Comic Keeps Me, because mostly it's just me. Sometimes I love it. And it's really hard to do it when it's just you, because I have a job and I've got other things that I need to do. And I do another podcast that's about Star Trek. And fortunately, on the other show, my co-host kind of keeps me going to that. But when it's just me, it can be really hard. Like you said, you got to sit down and go, all right, what do I want to say about this, and what did I read, and how can I balance this with the stuff that I liked that I read this week against this piece of crap that I have to find something nice to say about it. And I'm really glad that Logan is on the show as much as he is, because we make plans to do things. Like when we go to do movie reviews, we know we're going to go see the movie, we're going to sit in the car afterwards and talk about it, so that's the impetus for getting it out there. Or, you know, like we did a couple of weeks ago, we worked together, so we went to a meeting, and afterwards we sat in my car and reviewed some comics and talked about New Frontier. So that was good, but it's hard when it's just you, because you don't have a schedule, there's no deadline, there's nobody making you do it. You just have to make yourself do it, so it can be tough.
Well, we're the only people dumb enough up here to do a video show. And that's when it becomes a grind sometimes, because video is about 100 times more work than putting together the audio show. In terms of editing and post-production, it's scanning maybe hundreds of images to put into the show's graphics. That's when I really want to just kill you and you. Stop mentioning arcane panels in that one comic. I don't have anywhere but in storage. It's like 2 hours of fun.
X-Men, from the 70, 80, where I think Kitty Pryde.
Sometimes you see my eyes go dead on the show, and when Ron makes a mention like that, thinking, oh great, that's going to take 4 hours of time.
So pray it's somewhere on the internet that you can find it. You can't stand 100 by 100 pixel image.
So that's sometimes, I mean, it's fun, and we're all creative people who have non-creative jobs, so that's why we do it, and even if it's grind, it's still fun. It's still fun to put together a video show, because it's what we always wanted to do, so even when, you know, it's Friday night and I'm not going out and sitting on my computer editing, it's still not worth really complaining about, except to